Welcome to the Galdress team induction for Watford Gas Works. This video will introduce you to the team and the overall health and safety standards for your time here on this project. This is an exciting new project for St Williams. The project involves the construction of a 6-storey RC frame. Galdress have currently been contracted to carry out the initial phase of enabling works, such as pile mat construction, obstruction clearing and preparing for the piling activity. So let's meet the Galdress team who will be responsible for the safe management of this project. James Wibberley is the project manager. James is located in the Galdress site office. Daniel Lohin is the construction manager. Daniel will be seen out on site and can be easily identified by the black hard hat that he wears. If you have any questions or concerns regarding health, safety or environmental issues, please do not hesitate to contact either James or Daniel, as they will be more than happy to assist you. As part of our works, Galdress have established an initial site setup. This includes the following: a cosh storage area, site stores, canteen, drying room, change room and toilet area, and site offices. Please ensure that you look after these facilities. If you identify any issues or spot any damage, please report it to a member of the site management team immediately so that this can be rectified. Now let's take a look at the risks involved in this project and the control measures that you must adhere to remain safe at all times. The main risk at this stage of the project relates to groundworks. This includes the use of mobile plant such as excavators and dumpers to carry out excavation works and the interface with you, the operative on site. As with all excavation works, we must consider the risk of buried surfaces and ensure that there are sufficient controls in place to identify and avoid these. Any time we excavate ground, we need to ensure that the sides of the excavation remain stable. A potential excavation collapse could cause significant harm. Last but by no means least, open excavations must be treated the same as working at height. A risk of a fall into an excavation could result in severe injury or worse. Welcome to the Galdress visual standard for the safe use of excavators and excavation works. Prior to carrying out any works, you must fully inspect the machine for any damage or potential faults. Only fully automatic and fully manual quick hitch systems are allowed under Galdress procedures. Semi-auto systems are not permitted on site. Operators must check all levels and ensure they're full as required. Check the flashing beacon functions correctly and ensure that all cameras, mirrors are clear and you have 360 visibility. Ensure the seatbelt functions correctly and there is no sign of damage. Whenever a machine is not in use, it must be isolated and the key must be removed. The highest risk when operating large plants such as excavators is the interface between people and plant. Both excavator operators and operatives on the ground have a responsibility to ensure that they remain segregated. Operatives must only enter Zone 1 when given an all-clear signal by the driver or excavator banksman. This will be a thumbs up. The machine must be fully stopped with the bucket placed on the floor. Operatives must never enter Zone 2, the red zone, when the machine is in operation. Entering this area is high risk and could result in a potential fatality. The yellow zone is the safest potential area for operatives working with or approaching the machine. Ideally, the excavator banksman will be positioned in this location, allowing the machine driver to have the best possible view of the operative. Where wheeled plant comes into contact with excavation edges or changes in level, stop blocks must be employed to avoid the potential of overturning. Edge protection must be installed to all excavations and must be a minimum of 1 metre back from the excavated edge. Edge protection must fully cover all open faces of the excavation and must be inspected at the start of each shift. Red archways are to be installed where access routes cross or interface with trafficked areas. These will be complete with clear warning signs displayed. Chapter 8 barriers can be employed for shallow excavations and changes in level. However, these must be 1 metre back from the edge, and all panels must be securely linked together with Harris panel clips. Never walk by poorly protected edges. Stop, report and sort any issue you see, as it could well be an accident waiting to happen. To prevent the potential of excavation collapse, all excavations must be stepped or battered. Batters must be at a 45-degree angle. Steps can alternatively be cut at 1 metre by 1 metre. If neither of these can be safely carried out, stop and report to your supervisor, as a support system will need to be designed and implemented. Not only is there a risk to safety on the project, but we must think about the harm that certain activities and operations can have to our immediate and long-term health. These risks often go unseen, as the effects can sometimes take years to present themselves. Dust can be a killer. Silica, asbestos and other potential contaminants can have long-term and devastating health impacts. You only have one set of ears, so we need to make sure we protect them and avoid any loud noises that can potentially harm our hearing. Vibrating tools and exposure to vibration can cause debilitating injuries, such as vibration white finger. We all know that our works involve a degree of manual handling, however we must ensure that we minimise this to avoid causing ourselves any potential musculoskeletal injury. The best way to avoid the risk that dust presents is to stop it at source. Dust extraction or suppression using water must be our first line of defence. Ensure when carrying out a task that generates dust you wear an FFP3 Force 8 press to check mask. When wearing a dust mask you must ensure the following. 1. Ensure you have been face fit tested. 2. Ensure you are clean shaven. 3. Ensure that you know how to correctly wear the mask. And 4. Exchange the filters after 30 days of use. The question often asked with noise is how loud is too loud? A general rule of thumb is if you can't have a conversation 1 metre apart at normal speaking volume, then you need to be wearing hearing protection. Always ensure that when using power tools, breaking out or working in close proximity to loud plant that you wear the correct hearing protection. Obey all signage and be aware of tasks within your RAMs that state the need for this. When using any tool that causes vibration, you'll be required to wear a have-wear watch. This watch monitors your exposure to vibration. You must remain within the green section of the watch, never go into the amber or the red, as this indicates that you will be exceeding your safe limit and putting yourself at risk of developing vibration white finger. Gougers are committed to setting the highest standards of health, safety, environment and quality management on our projects, and we need you to commit to helping us achieve this. All materials and equipment must be stored in such a way that operatives can access them without the risk of slips and trips in any way. This means leaving space to access between the materials and stacking them in such a way that lifting chains and strops can be easily attached. The image on the screen now shows how steel reinforcements should be stored on highlighted chocks with walkways between bundles. You must have a safe and clear access route to your place of works, and this must be clearly marked and signed and segregated from plant and site traffic. You have already met the management team for this project previously in this video. It's now time to look at the briefings and engagement that can take place during your time here. At 7:30, Every morning there will be a daily briefing. This briefing will give you details on your day's work and highlight any safety items that you need to be reminded of. Pay attention in these briefings and ask questions. The more you join in and engage, the more you will take away. Prior to any work starting, you will be briefed on your method statement and risk assessment. This is known as your RAMS. It is of the highest importance that you understand the contents of your RAMS. This briefing tells you the specific safety details for the task you will be doing. Ensure you pay attention and ask if you are unsure or don't understand anything that is told to you. If for any reason you cannot complete the task in the way that's detailed within the RAMS, you have a duty to stop and report to your supervisor immediately. You would have already been briefed on the site's emergency procedures as part of the principal contractor's induction briefing. However, there are some Gouger's specific items that you need to know. James Wibley is the Gouger's first aider for the project. He's located along with the first aid kit on the Gouger's site office. You must report any accident or near miss, no matter how small you think it may be. It's only by looking at each and every one of these incidents that we can learn and avoid a potential reoccurrence, keeping everyone safe. At Gouger's, we value the workforce and understand the pressures that this industry places upon those that work within it. Statistically, there are 2 suicides by construction workers every day. This is an alarming figure, and as an industry, we must do something to address this. Speak up if you're concerned about yourself or others. Gouger's is a member of the Building Mental Health Organisation and has strong ties with charities that can provide assistance to anyone who may be suffering.
Mental health is something we all have. It's the way we think and feel and how we address the challenges we face in our lives. When our mental health is poor, we can find ourselves unable to cope. Around 1 in 6 of us experience a symptom of anxiety or depression in any given week. It can be hard to recognise that someone is experiencing a mental health problem. They may not even be aware of what's happening themselves. People can feel a need to hide their feelings because they might be ashamed coming forward. If someone doesn't see themselves, particularly if you know they have stuff happening in their life, it's good to check in and see how they are. You might notice that someone is more angry or irritable than usual, or that they're isolating themselves or hiding away. Mental health can seem like a really daunting subject to talk about, but we've all had conversations with colleagues and friends about bereavements, breakups, and other life events. We use the same skills to talk about mental health. It's just the same. When a person isn't coping, they really need colleagues who can reach out to them with warmth and compassion. It can help if you set aside 10 minutes to have a proper chat. Find a space where you know you can have a conversation and where you're not going to be distracted. It might be that someone wants to go outside for a walk, or they might want to get coffee in a busy cafe. It's really up to them, whatever makes them feel comfortable. Don't feel awkward reaching out to someone if they give you the brush off the first time. It can be really difficult to come forward. If you've made a mistake and they're actually fine, the worst that can happen is they think you're a nice person who's noticed how they feel. It's so important to give your full attention to the person you're listening to. That means no distractions. Turn your phone off and make sure you won't be disturbed. Maintain eye contact unless a person is uncomfortable. That sometimes happens when we talk about difficult subjects. Adopting an open posture, mirroring their behaviour and keeping your feet on the ground are all ways that you can help to focus on what's being said. Be relaxed. That helps you to come across as genuine and engaged with what they're saying. You can ask questions to clarify and show that you're listening, but don't push it if people don't want to discuss details. When a conversation comes to an end, it's really important to recap what you've discussed and go over any actions that you've agreed. Make sure you do what you say you're going to, because it's very important that a person knows that they've been heard. If a person's very upset at the end of the conversation, you might want to encourage them to call a close friend or their doctor. If you feel that a conversation is getting too much or too difficult for you to deal with, you might want to pass it on or talk to someone about your own feelings. You could speak to your manager or use a helpline for confidential support. Sadly, there's still a lot of stigma about mental health. By reaching out to people who aren't coping, you can do a lot to reduce that stigma and even, possibly, save a life.
Directly after this video, you'll be met by a member of the project management team. They will take you through the RAMs and brief you on our company policies. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We hope you have a happy and safe time on this project. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to speak to a member of the site management team.